The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. Today we are going to discuss on BricsCAD one workflow to design and build tomorrow. I'm happy and glad to present this topic to you all and share the knowledge that I've gathered over the years. So my name is Sagar Thorat, and I'm an architectural engineer and a senior consultant and APAC technical lead for Bricsys Asia Pacific. My email address you can see here. You could note down this for any correspondence or any questions at a later stage. I will be resharing this as well. So let's begin today's session. All right. So initially, I'll be introducing Bricsys. So Bricsys is actually a technology company founded in 2002, and we are global providers of cost-effective modern CAD and building information modeling and mechanical design software. We also offer common data environment products brought to the market under the BricsCAD brand. Hexagon acquired Bricsys a few years ago, and Hexagon itself is a publicly traded company, so we are quite strong in this segment together with Hexagon. And there are 300,000 users for Bricsys products around the world in 110 countries, and we are headquartered in Belgium with 200 plus employees in 8 countries. We have a global footprint, and we are rapidly increasing in the Asia Pacific. You can see that we have a Singapore headquarters for the Asia Pacific, but Singapore, as such, the entity for Bricsys and Development Center was established in 2013. We do have some senior representatives in Hong Kong and India as well. We have our representatives as regional directors. So moving on. Today's agenda would be I'll take you through an introduction of BricsCAD, and we will go through concept design, building information modeling, computational BIM with BricsCAD, IFC interoperability. We will look at some quick real-time rendering with Enscape, scan to BIM with BricsCAD point cloud workability, civil tools, and at the end we will share some case studies for your reference, and then we will take the Q&A. So let's begin. All right, so BricsCAD is the future of DWG. We are very happy to share our knowledge in terms of how we are developing BricsCAD for the future and how DWG is a de facto standard in the industry and will also be so for BIM and mechanical design as well. So we are not just talking about 2D, but we are talking about the whole design life cycle, about BIM, about DFMA, and some other file to factory procedures as well, developed over the BricsCAD platform. So BricsCAD design platforms as such start right away from the basic 2D drafting functionalities, Pro, which is our 3D constraints and advanced modeling functionality. We have Platinum flavors, mechanical, and BIM, which is our most advanced industrial platform for the AEC design and engineering and construction firms. We also offer Bricsys 24/7, which is a cloud-based common data environment, very lightweight to use, a Google sort of an interface. I really love that. And all of this is completely on .dwg, and AI features are common through all the platforms. So a quick look at the Hexagon family of platforms and solutions for the AEC industry. Not only covers software, but also hardware solutions. So Leica is a Hexagon company, and Leica offers very good scanning solutions, processing solutions, and also solutions for reality capture processing as well. We're also looking quite broadly into 4D, 5D, asset management, and facility management, and the overall creation of a digital twin in the future. So we are getting ready, and we are almost ready for digital construction, and BricsCAD will be a key player in the future as part of this portfolio. So BricsCAD for conceptual design and modeling. I'm going to take you through to certain conceptual design features and how the direct modeling in BricsCAD Pro, Platinum, Mechanical, and BIM treat native and imported geometry the same, and the result is a seamless 3D editing of solids. So let's have a look inside BricsCAD, and we're going to start with conceptual modeling. So this sort of conceptual modeling is actually a very simple one. Like I could just run push-pull commands and extrude objects, but we are going to look at a little bit more advanced level of modeling. So let's say I would like to select this edge, and I would actually like to give it a more eccentric form as a building. So I could do edge-based manipulations using the manipulator tool. The manipulator tool is my personal favorite. It allows me to work quite efficiently in terms of managing my designs. So I could say, for example, I want to actually shear this block inwards, or I could also do the same. In case I want to delete this, I would actually like to shear the bottom block. And let's look at the manipulation here. The manipulator tool allows me to shear in, go in there. Okay. We can also use on the other side quick manipulation tools. And we are also able to use rotate so that we're able to give some quick modification if you would like to taper it, for example. Okay, so I'm happy with the sheared form, and actually I like it quite a lot. So let's just stick to this, but I'm actually going to copy this block on top of the block here. All right. And I'm looking at these 4 tower blocks. So let's say, for example, we can extrude this. Let's just push-pull this inwards by 8 meters, say 8 meters inwards. I'm going to take this out by 8 meters. So a reasonable amount of cantilever, of course, structurally possible, and not really a complicated thing. And also, we could probably just look at taking this block and moving it closer to this building. We could just place it in here, all right, and then give this some more eccentricity, some accentuation, 6,000 up here, and now I have some decent looking building form. I could be happy about it, or if I do want, I could even pull this inwards so as to give it some more dynamic outlook from all sides. So this way I'm able to create some nice forms. There we go. And let's say, how do I convert this quickly into a conceptual design where I will be able to present this like floor plates. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to switch off the surface and the line selection tools and just quickly run the slice command here. So there you go, slice. I will use multi-slicing and just select a surface that will be my slicing plane. Give a height of 4,000, so that would be good for a commercial building. And then let's repeat this all across the floor here. All right. Okay, I could do that. And the similar, I would like to also do it on the other side using multi-slice. So very nice and cool editing tools here. And I'm able to repeat this all across the floor. All right, so let's stick to this so that we can move faster. And now we're going to run one of the artificially intelligent tools that BricsCAD offers functionality, which is Blockify. So I'm going to use Blockify. So Blockify allows me to group objects such as equal solids. Say, for example, I'm able to say these are equal solids in the entire drawing. And now I can just give it a particular abbreviation like tower 0, all right? And then I'll say enter. And what the BricsCAD has done is it has got about 55 blocks, but you can see here that this block is named tower 01. This is also tower 01. So all these are like my floors, tower 01. And this is another block, which is TT. So basically I could rename these, but all these blocks have been grouped into a particular block. And the advantage of this is basically what I could do. I could get inside this block, and just in an AutoCAD native environment, similar to that, we'll be able to edit this block, especially, and just say that this is my typical flow plate. And now I can use my shell command to actually shell this, get this top surface can be unselected. I'm just going to press enter, give a shell offset. Let's say in this case, I'm going to give a shell offset of 250, enter, enter, and I'm done. So now I have a shell all around my floor plate, okay? And I would like to sort of split these. So what I can do, I can use my quad cursor. So you can see that this at your fingertips, what we call as a quad, is a visual feed, and it's a live editing or manipulator which you're able to use for drawing, modeling, modifying, selecting the particular object, okay? And the AI inside BricsCAD understands that what were your recent commands, and that is what it puts here on in front of you in the first row. So I'm going to use split, okay? And what it does, it actually splits my corners and gives me or gives me 4 walls. Then I can decide how I would like to treat this corner by, let's just say, using L-Connect. L-Connect allows me to just swap, go through these options. And let's say I'm happy with this, I'm going to connect it. All right, that's fine. Then I could run some push-pull applications. Say, for example, I can take this edge, add some more dynamism to the building. Say I'm going to move this away by 1500. There you go. 1500 may be too less, but let's see if it's, I don't even want to increase the cost of the building too much. So let's stick at that, okay? Then I'm going to look at having this as a curtain wall face with a certain grid, like a pre-estimated grid, okay? And then I could just say 2000 on this side, 4000 vertically, enter, and I can just select for the glass thickness can be defined, the connection types can be defined, but I'll just accept this as I need to do this only for concept design. Let's not spend much time because it's not yet approved. That's the thing. And then we are going to get into panelize. So let's panelize this and see that there's a different way of creating a window in BricsCAD. One is, of course, you can do a curtain wall, but on the other side, you're also able to do customized grids, and actually you can edit these grids. Let's say I want to edit this particular grid. All right. Okay. So this enables me to edit. Enter. Okay, there you go. Or actually, I can just convert this entire grid into a window, okay? So this also can be done, that immediately I can convert this entire grid into a window. I'm done with this block, and now I'm gonna just Control S this, save this block, and I have this distinctive looking architecture, which now I can present and I can get some feedback from the other design teams. So very quickly, I was able to do some massing, and we can also look at lofting tools now. Let's look at lofting, yeah? So lofting, say for example, I can just say loft, similar to softwares like Rhino, for example. All right, and you could loft 2 different curves together, and the similar slicing command can also be ran on the lofted volume over here. Similarly, I could do a multi-curve lofting, select this, this, and just to make it more like that and like that. So these are certain really cool 3D modeling tools. And of course, once you're done with this, you can do a push-pull, of course, a manipulator, or you could do a vertical extrude up there, right? So I really like it. All right, so let's loft single curves, for example. Yeah, so let's loft this guy and this one. Enter, enter. And similarly, we're going to actually, let's say this is like an entrance or probably a roof for a church building or a particular community center, something like that. So I can have some distinctive forms selected as well. So let's look at grids, single line, enter, enter. Yeah. So there you go. Some nice distinctive looking roof, which is slightly twisted. Shouldn't also overdo it as a designer. So then I can just loft here these three curves together to get a swept curved form all across. Yeah. Okay. And then I could apply wall thicknesses to these. Okay, just to have a look and feel of how this is going to look. So there's your 300 mm wall thickness. Again, 300 mm wall thickness. Let's have a quick look at, yeah, it's 300. There you go. Okay. And then I can actually grab a component like a triangular window. So these are triangular windows. So this is not even classified as a roof or a wall yet. It is still a solid object, but I'm still able to grab a window component. And actually, if you see here, BricsCAD, the UCS automatically follows in a 3D view. You're able to get the UCS automatically oriented to particular surfaces. So in this case, I'm going to place my window here. Let's just place it here. Oops, sorry. I just need to grab this. Okay, there we go. So I've placed my window here, and now I can edit this window. I can edit the size of this. So we have parametric tools, which they're automatically assigned parametric window sizes, which you could create. So instead of 1,000, I would want it to be 3,000. Okay, there you go. And then I can increase the window size. Now you see that in a twisted surface, I was able to put this window in there. Okay. Similarly, I could give a wall thickness to this one. Say I would like to have a shell of concrete, a concrete shell of 400 mm. Okay, there you go. And a beautiful shell is out there. Okay. Now, how do I quickly get the area of this, right? Well, that's a question. Of course, I'm not able to see anything here. Either you can get an area of this as a 3D solid. Let's say I can just expand and get the mass, which means I'm able to quickly get the surface area and the volume. And that's the beauty of this, that you're able to quickly even get the quantification of these kind of shapes. And of course, nothing to say, but I'm even able to like grab and move my window. I'm just going to try and quickly place it. Yeah, sometimes the UCS can just go a bit draggy. Okay, there you go. Just try to place it in this direction. Okay, so let's move on to the actual BIM part now. So we have understood conceptual design on how you can conceptually design your projects, and you're able to use simple, solid editing modeling techniques. You can even do union, subtract. You could edit edges, surfaces. You can use push-pull. You can use extrude, twisting, shearing, all the geometrical modifications. You could use BricsCAD for your conceptual design as well. And then, of course, you can now move. Let's say if you have line work, if you're designing a plan in 2D, let's say you're planning in 2D, designing in 3D, and now let's move into 2D and BIM as well. So to start with this, you can trace using Quick Draw, for example. You can use Quick Draw, and Quick Draw enables you with the specified height of the wall, which you can preset, and you are able to use Quick Draw to quickly create these building enclosures. Okay, there you go. Let's get in here. Okay, and then I'm able to quickly trace this plan, use this corner here, and then I'm able to grab in here, right? There you go. Okay, the wall connections we can definitely look at how you want to do that. But let's say I'm quite happy, it's a decent looking simple building, don't want to get into too much complication, I can use my view cube to reorient myself. And then let's look at quickly moving this into, say, 4 stories. So I could use the quick draw to say, for example, I would like to copy this with the walls and above without the wall. And then I would like to roof it up. So I'm just going to add a roof in there and I'm done. Okay. So let's say I've created an enclosure now. So what I would like to do here is that I'd like to add some window objects here. Okay. So solid editing, so I'm not going to go too much into it now because we've already seen it in the previous demonstration. So let's look at attic windows, for example. Yeah. So what you could do is you could actually draw, say if you want to do an elliptical window, you see that if you have your dynamic UCS on, 3D UCS, you can directly start drawing here on the plane. So say, for example, I would like to draw an ellipse. I'm going to go in here and just draw the ellipse here, right? I have this ellipse. Just want to test it out how an elliptical window looks like. So I'm going to go into the modeling, create window, select this ellipse, enter, and that it allows me to choose a particular window style. Yeah, you could predefine these, but let's look at this window style, for example. And then once I'm chosen with it, BricsCAD automatically gives me this elliptical window. Okay, and let's say now if I want to edit the wall thickness, I could still do that. I could individually edit the wall thickness by simply going to the surface and push-pulling this out. And when I push-pull this out, you're able to even move the window at the same time. If you say, for example, want to specify the window location, the position, you're also able to go in here, say I want this at 4 meters. Yeah, so I'm positioning my window at 4 meters. So very quick editing tools. And similarly, you can create these components, or you could actually bring in, if you have AutoCAD or let's say RFA families, you could bring them in and you could convert them and create a new component and just subtract volume out of this, and you're able to work with it. Okay, so now let's look at a very simple, another way of creating a window. Say I'm going to just use a rectangular grid, right, and just place it here. Okay, and I'm going to now say I want a grid which is, say, 10 meters. Okay, and let's look at a height of 2 meters. Okay. Okay, and just 2 meters and 2 meters. Okay. And if I think that I have not really done what I need to do, I can always ref edit this grid in place. Like I can actually, let's say that I can actually move this grid here, just press F8, similar to your AutoCAD, and just go down here by, say, 2600. And if you want this window to move up, I can take a sill height of 600. There you go. And then I'm just gonna copy this a few times to create a pattern just randomly. You could dimension it out. I'm just randomly now choosing, but you could dimension this out as well. Yeah. So once I'm done with this, I'm just gonna Control S this grid, and then actually use this grid to create a window. So I get a window inside that grid, right? And then of course, what you could do is you could go to the structural browser, and let's say I'm just gonna actually hide this grid. Okay, so hide this grid. Okay, and now what we can do here is actually we can use this window, and we would propagate this window on the entire building. Yeah, so propagate is an AI feature in BricsCAD that allows you to propagate planar, propagate linear, propagate patterns, propagate edges, a lot of propagation features. Let's say propagate pattern. What it allows me to do is to select a planar solid, right? And then it allows me to select an object related to the planar solid. And then BricsCAD actually asks me if this is the object I would like to propagate. I say, yes, I would like to use this. I enter, and then BricsCAD gives me options. Yeah. where I could propagate this pattern. And it's my choice. Say, for example, I would like to keep this window, let's say, on the right here. Yeah. This window, I would like to move to the right. Okay. And these I would like to keep the way they are. And this also I would like to keep the way they are. Yeah. I'm happy with this. If I, let's say, don't want these two floors to have the window, then I can chuck them off. Yeah. And let's say I don't want window over here. Fine, I'm happy with this. Let's enter, and BricsCAD will do the rest for you. It will automatically propagate the windows on the surfaces that you have assigned them to. Okay. So beautiful, isn't it? And then let's look at, say, for example, defining sections. You could just define a plane, and you could just go ahead and do a section plane. Okay. And if you have a section plane, you're able to even use this for presentations. You can quickly snap a view and send it to someone to check if this is what you would like to design. Very simple looking. And I'm just going to now get out of the section clipping mode. Okay, out of the section clipping mode. And now let's look at, say, applying materials and look at auto match. Yeah. So I'm going to go to BIM compositions. BIM compositions, you're able to, let's say I'm going to open up one of the compositions, cavity wall brick. Now, it's a very simple interface. You're able to browse through the existing compositions, or of course you can edit them. Okay, you can define a function. Is it a substrate? Is it an insulation? Is it a finish? Is it a membrane? It's up to you to define. You can define a thickness of the particular structure, insulation thickness, maybe structural thickness. All that is at your discretion. And you could define what could be the air gap in between, depending on the W value that you would like to have. Okay, the overall thickness, and you could also create a new composition for yourself. Okay, so new composition, you could just add layers of walls in between here and just keep editing and adding more and more materials. We have very good library. You could use it, you could edit it, you could add your own. Yeah. And I'm just going to close this now because I'm going to use a default, say, cavity wall brick. Before that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to on my level of detail. So I'm going to get my level of detail here. So let's say level of detail is on. So I'm going to grab the brick here and assign it on this face. So now you see that it actually gives me an option if I want to assign it on the inner wall, or I would like to flip the composition. Yeah. So let's say I'm going to flip the composition in this case, and you could even align it to the center if you'd like to. Okay. So I'm happy with this. I'm going to say enter, and you see that my material has been applied on this particular wall. Yeah. So now what I would like to do is that I don't want to really select it all over. So I'm going to use auto match. It's another AI tool. So I'll use auto match, and we will say, what do you want to auto match? Compositions, BIM properties. All right. You want to use an external model to do it? No, I'll just use the same model. And let's say I'm going to say autocomplete here. Okay. This is fine. And I'm just going to say for all or only for a particular building, I'll say all. Okay. And enter. So you see that my materials were applied on all the walls using auto match as a command. Okay. So you're also able to, for example, in this case, you're able to go to the sun settings. Sun properties you could edit. Okay. We have rendering properties. There's an inbuilt rendering engine inside BricsCAD. You could set the sun properties based upon a geographical location and a time zone. Okay. So I'm not going to go too much into detail of it. If anybody is specifically interested, I could have a specific session with that person. So please let me know. Yeah. You could set viewpoints. You could do camera views. You could set perspectives, and these can also be edited. For example, in the visual styles menu, you could say perspective off or perspective on. So in this case, I'm completely in an isometric. Okay. But I could even get inside a perspective again. Yeah. And I'm able to go through visual styles. I can even create my own visual style depending on the shadows. For example, I would like to apply certain shadows at a certain time of a day. I could do that as well. Okay. So now I'm going to move on and use the BIMify command. BIMify is a revolutionary AI command that BricsCAD has invented, and it allows you to classify solid objects as BIM elements with metadata attached. Now, it's very important to know that this is a very different approach. We have gone back to the drawing board, started fresh that how BIM should be and how easy it can be to adapt. And this is how we feel, and this is what we have done. We have invented BIMify, so the industry can be at more ease to use BIM. And even your DWG user should be able to use BIM, and that is our goal. We would like to empower the DWG community. So let's look at BIMify here. I'm gonna hit BIMify. So it's gonna run its own memory AI engine, and it has automatically created floor plans, elevations for me. Okay. So if I go into this particular floor plan, you can see here, this is a floor plan. It has assigned rooms with areas, and now I'm also able to, for example, click on this floor plan, go into the properties, and say that what is the height that the floor plan should be cut at. Yeah. In this case, this floor plan is cut at 10 meter 950 above the ground level. I can change this to 12,000. So my floor plan plane has immediately changed. Okay. And I can update it. So this is at your discretion, at your fingertips to do so. You could even use the quad to update these features. So the quad allows you to open the model, or actually I'm going to generate this section to generate a 2D view out of a 3D model. So I'm going to generate this, and BricsCAD is going to generate this for you. And then I'm going to, let's say, open the model. Okay, so it opens my 2D view for me, and from here on, the game is you just go ahead, detail, draw, and edit. And it's as easy as working in AutoCAD or working in SketchUp or in a combination, but only on one single platform as .dwg in BricsCAD. So I'm able to on layers here, and let's say I'm going to go through all the layers, and these are all the layers that have already been default assigned, but you could work with these layers, and you can just set them as on and off as well. In case you want to switch off particular layers, you could just switch them on, and you're able to work with it. Okay, so I'm going to go into the same project which has been detailed, so that we are able to look at the drawings that have been created. So similar project that has been further detailed. I'm going to go into these floor plans. So in this case, let's look at the floor plan 1. Okay, there you go. So this is a completely detailed model. Let's say it's a scheme design model. And we could also go into the stair tool, for example. We have stair tools as well. We are able to edit stair properties by going into the properties dialog box. You're able to define stair properties as well. You can define a stair width, change it, the height of the staircase, the riser height, step thickness, all of these values can be changed at your discretion. Okay, the number of risers also will be automatically adapted. So it's not that way. For example, I would like to not stick to the standard way of doing BIM, but now what I would like to do is I would actually like to just individually edit these stairs, which is also possible using BricsCAD BIM. So now let's say look at the documentation part of this building. In this case, I have this externally referenced structural model inside the architectural model. So we have a steel structure model which you can hide. So if you'd like to hide the steel model, you could just hide it from here or on it from here. So it's just basically a loading and a reloading thing that you do as X referencing. So we have taken the beauty of X-referencing from AutoCAD and given it in a BIM capability. How's that for a change, right? So are we ready to do this, or are we ready to adapt to this change is really the most important thing that we all need to understand, okay? So let's look at the documentation capabilities. So in terms of documentation, all these flow plans have been created. I'm able to go to these particular flow plans like in 3D, and also I have them on my sheet. So I'm able to go to my sheet, which has been created using our sheet dialog box, and you're able to work with these individual views as well. So all of this actually is a 2D representation, a section cut through the 3D plane, but a 2D representation. So which means that if I update something in the 3D model, it should be able to update even in the 2D, but at the same time, I'm also able to work with layers in that case. Say, for example, this particular object is main floor plan. If I get in here, I can get inside the DWG drawing and I can see what layer does it belong to. So I'm able to edit these blocks individually. Yeah, so that's also the beauty of it. Say if I use the copy guided command, which is another AI tool, I can actually select this particular door and also get in the, let's look into the model space, for example. I'm just going to use copy guided. Okay, I'm going to select this. You see the door gets selected. So I'm working in 2D. And now you can actually start working in so let's say the copy guided actually understands that my door is aligned to a particular wall. So I can just start working in 2D here directly. So from 3D, you're now actually starting to work in 2D at the same time, using your same standard layer system and using your same standards that you have developed over the years, which you can keep using them. Same like AutoCAD layers, for example. You can create new layers, you can edit existing layers. Say in this case, this is a layer background BRX 2D symbols. I can go to background BRX 2D symbols and off this, okay? So layer on and off system. So your draftsmen and BIM coordinators now can work together efficiently using DWG as their common platform for 2D, 3D, BIM, and 2D again, because ultimately the industry needs 2D drawings. We should not forget that. All right, so I'm going to close this drawing now. And let's look at, say, for example, I'll go to the first floor plan. Okay. Let's go to the first floor plan here. Okay. And first floor, I'm going to use this door. Okay. And we can actually edit this. I'm going to run a BIM insert. All right. So BIM insert, we're going to just insert this door right here. Okay. Let's say at a 0 length. Okay, there you go. So my door has been inserted here, and I can now edit this door location. I would like it to be at about 1500. There we go. So I'm positioning this at 1500. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'm actually going to move to the drawing, which is floor 1. We'll go to floor 1, and we're gonna off this. Okay. Floor 0, floor 1, and we can see that the door has been added here. And this is something which, let's say, for example, if I would like to update, I can actually update this view. So BricsCAD will update your 2D changes, and it will update it on the drawing as well. So you see that my door has moved, and it has also highlighted that there is a change that you have done to this drawing. So that's the beauty. You're even using the drawing compare feature. So using the drawing compare feature, you're using BIM, you're using 2D, you're using everything on .dwg. And that's ultimate. I think that's really beautiful. So let's now, I'm going to close this. Of course, we are able to do schedules. Okay. I'm not getting too much into detail of it, but you're able to do schedules as well. You're able to do details. So let's probably look at a particular detail. Let's look at a detail. Let's say detail 33, detail roof 33. So detail roof 33 should be part of a sheet, and I'm immediately in this detail. Now this detail is actually extracted from the 3D model that you have created. And all of these layers are actually part of the detailing that you have done, all right? So what you could do is you could even start drawing on this by yourself. Automatically, you are just able to extract this as a 2D drawing, and you're able to draw on this directly. So that's the important thing. All right. So of course, you're able to do sections, elevations. There are no real limitations on the documentation capabilities. All right. So this is all based upon layer standards. The hatch patterns you can define, you could edit them, you could add your own hatch patterns and customize as well. Okay. So we're done with this part. Now I'm just going to quickly move into the Grasshopper link of BricsCAD BIM. So let's move into the Grasshopper part. I'm going to close this. Just say no here. Say no here so that we are just able to work with the one file. Just going to say no here. Okay. And let's open my window here. So let's say Grasshopper. Just give me a second. Yeah, there we go. So can just open the Grasshopper here. All right. So Grasshopper actually sits inside BricsCAD. So you're directly able to access it. You can download the plugin from the BricsCAD App Store, and you can get Grasshopper inside BricsCAD. And you can use BricsCAD geometry. In this case, we are going to use, let's say this is a master plan that we have created using BricsCAD Civil Tools. And this is a railway line here. There are two adjacent buildings, an office building. For example, we need to make a bus stop station canopy here, right? So there's a bus stop canopy. We'll use to select one curve, set one curve in BricsCAD, select this curve, and you can see that my script has created this canopy, which was of course pre-made. So people who are familiar with computational BIM should know that Grasshopper can be used for computational design. Basically, there is no limitation. You could design anything. But here, the most important part is that Grasshopper hosts BricsCAD inside Grasshopper, and BricsCAD hosts Grasshopper inside BricsCAD. So they talk to each other, they relate to each other. There is interoperability. All right. So let's say I would like to take a BricsCAD component, a BIM data, or a BIM type inside Grasshopper. I'm able to do that. All right. I am able to take BIM types. So in this case, the BIM type that I'm taking is all the profiles, which is HEA, IPN, IPE, right? So I'm going to just change the profile here to IPE, and you can see that I've made a change. I'm also able to change the profile. Let's say, for example, I would like to change this canopy a little slightly. I want to move it to the right. And you can see that the geometry is updated inside BricsCAD. And of course, it is from Grasshopper that the geometry is created. All right. So I'm not going too much into detail of Grasshopper, but important to know that you're able to use tools like Graph to update your design. Let's say in this case, I want an inverted curve for the canopy, for the slope. So I can do that. Yeah. I can work with Grasshopper in that sense to use dynamic tools to update my designs. Okay. All right. So then we move to the BricsCAD panel inside Grasshopper. So what you're able to do is you're able to select elements from BricsCAD, which is a BIM column, a BIM slab, a BIM beam, BIM door, BIM window, for example. In this case, we're using column, beam, and a roof, right? So what we're going to do is actually, we are able to bake building elements directly inside BricsCAD. We are able to bake particular geometry inside BricsCAD. So we will take all of these three components, which is a column, which is this column, then the beam and the roof, all right? And it's assigned to a story, a building story, which is first story, okay? So now I'm gonna bake this. So when I bake this, I'll bake them simultaneously. Okay. So just wait for a few seconds and my geometry should be baked. There you go. Oh, sorry. I need to define a layer. Sorry. So the geometry needs to be assigned to a particular layer and this particular color has to be given. In this case, we will say that the geometry will have the same color as the layer. Okay. And we're going to say, okay. We'll give few seconds to Grasshopper to create the geometry. Okay, there you go. And the geometry now is visible inside your building elements as BIM, beam, column, and roof. How beautiful is it? So you don't have to really think about how your computational design models can now be converted into BIM models. So you can literally start using BricsCAD BIM and Grasshopper together to create BIM models directly from Grasshopper design, right? So let's say I want to clean up this connection. The connection is a bit messy because all the three members are connecting into each other, all right? So we're going to say we have a particular tool which is called a structural connect, which automatically defines a particular connection and cleans up your connections as well. So let's say connect, and the memory is going to work through itself, and my connections are going to be cleaned. There you go. Your connections are cleaned, and my beautiful canopy is ready to be quantified, or it's already BIMified. I can just quantify it. So let's close Grasshopper. Okay, I'm going to close Grasshopper. And now you can see that these are all BricsCAD elements, which are BricsCAD steel elements. Yeah, these are I-beams. Now, if I want to go and edit a particular I-beam, and I want to do a little bit more different than what I did in Grasshopper, I'm actually able to start editing these objects with simple push-pull techniques. Very simple. And that's what we would like to keep it like. Simple and editable, but BIMified. And this is really an important thing to know. Yeah. At the same time, these also have their analytical model connected. So if I display the analytical axis, my analytical model should be displaying. Okay, there you go. My analytical model is also displaying. I would like to say, for example, edit any or add eccentricities to this model. I'm able to do that as well. Okay, so now let's look at connection detailing. Okay, BricsCAD has a whole library of profiles. Okay, I'll quickly go through. I'm running out of time here. Probably I have to do a second session for the IFC part. I think we'll do that. We will do a second session for the IFC part. Okay, and let's look at HVAC, piping, structural steel, in this case, structural steel. We can look at AISC components, BS standards, Eurocode. In this case, let's look at Eurocode. And let's look at shapes, I shapes, I sections, HEA, HEB, IPE, or IPN. I'll go for IPE. You can use existing ones, or you can create a new profile right from an existing one. So that's really the beauty about working in a parametric BIM workflow. At the same time, the similar interfaces like what your standard tools like AutoCAD have, for example. So I'm going to close this now, and let's go quickly into the details to show you the structural detailing capabilities of BricsCAD BIM. So let's look at details. We have a host of libraries. Say, for example, we can go into bolted connections. I'm just going to go back here, and I'm going to look at this connection here, which I have created. This connection is a parametric bolted connection between two I-beams sitting on a column. Yeah. So I have certain tolerances in this model. This connection works up to an angle of a member, which is 30 degrees. Okay. And the profile dimension tolerances are there, and offset tolerances are also mentioned. You could redefine them. Okay. And let's say now I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to drag and drop this bolted connection in my file. Now the BricsCAD AI functionality will run through and scan through my model and give me an option of where this detail can be applied. So just give it a few seconds. It's giving me 13 locations where I can apply this connection. How beautiful is it? Structural detailing was never so easy, was it? And then I'm able to now look into these connection details, and I even have choices of swapping the bolts, for example, or setting the bolts a bit outside or inside. Yeah. So let me say that people are arriving from the left-hand side of the station, so I will keep my bolt head on the left-hand side of the station, and my nut can be on the other side. This way, I've even looked at the architectural part of it. So I'm happy with this. I can even say that I don't want a connection in this particular location, but I'm happy with this. Let's press enter. And there you go. My connection has been applied between these three members. All right. So probably I'll quickly spend 2 minutes with this, or maybe I'm going to call it a presentation for today because we have covered a lot of topics. Okay. So what I'm going to do is actually stop here, and we will start the Q&A. I'm just going to run some final slides just to show you some quick information like case studies of our clients. But we will take up in another session the IFC part of BricsCAD BIM and how Bricsys, Open Design Alliance, and Building Smart are working together for an open BIM technology which can be given to the entire community that is using DWG. Okay, that's the importance of this. I will take this up in another session. Perhaps we will plan this session in a week or two, and I'm going to call it a presentation for today because we are up for the time, and I'm just going to run through some case studies quickly. So some of our clients, we will just run through a list of our clients who are using BricsCAD BIM very happily. These are from the manufacturing segment, they are from the AEC segment, they are from the facade segment, construction segment, architectural design segment, plant, just call it, and we are in all industries. Okay. So quick client testimonials. Architectural designers love us because of the freedom of design with 3D modeling, a similar interface which mixes AutoCAD, SketchUp, Revit kind of an interface together. And these are the outputs they are taking out of BricsCAD BIM. And they're also working on commercial projects. For example, this is another project in the Netherlands. Some more projects, mixed use projects as well, commercial and residential, old and new buildings. And some more clients who are using BricsCAD with Enscape to generate value out of their design. And let's say you could commercialize certain renders and also increase your sales. Another firm, Prototype, you could actually look for Prototype online and see that they're quite a mid-scale house of about 85 engineers, and they're using it extensively for checking facade models, for example, 2D and 3D engineering models, and they are sort of a facade design and fabrication company who are using BricsCAD BIM and of course BricsCAD Mechanical, because BricsCAD Mechanical gives them the fabrication capability as well, and the assembly and the shop drawing generation capability, right? So they're using this for unique facades, like unique roofs. You can see this roof, which is a wavy form done in BricsCAD. Sleek Architect in GmbH in Switzerland are using BricsCAD BIM as well. They love the idea of accessing documents and drawings anytime, anywhere, because we also have a collaboration tool, which is Bricsys 24/7. And definitely they like that they have a perpetual license of BricsCAD, which they can use for how many years ever they want. And that's one of the important factors for architectural firms as well, to have an ownership of their license, something which we would like to advocate as well, and not really get tied up into subscription-based business models. Also, Studio Maton, these are really my favorite client. I have even seen their presentations, and there's a video. You should definitely look at this video. what they do with BricsCAD is really awesome. They are a structural design and a construction engineering firm, but they literally act even like architects. Like, they enhance an architect's design and they take it to a next level where the fabrication ideas come from them. And that's really a beauty about working in a complete .dwg based environment, where you could just move in and move out of any software technology, and you're able to interoperate and you're able to work with different file formats. All right, so this we will take in another webinar. Bricsys 24/7. People who would like to know more about it, please send an email to us and we will get back to you. All right. So finally, BricsCAD's value proposition: we are cost effective, we are multi-platform, we have IFC 2x3 support, IFC 4 as well is coming in V21 in October. We offer perpetual. We have a short learning curve because everything is in .dwg. So literally, you already know BricsCAD if you are already on .dwg. Okay, and we are performance focused, superior graphics and visualization, advanced multi-threading that allows us to work on so many complex tasks at the same time. You might have seen how many models I opened and how many tasks today I have done, but I did it from a 16 GB RAM PC where I run everything. For example, complicated models, point cloud models, IFC, and large scale models as well, right? So looking forward, BricsCAD V21, what's awesome is for everyone. Please go in and register yourself. It's a free registration, and please knowledge share. Go in there. October 27th, we are running our Bricsys Digital Summit, and everyone is welcome with an open heart. We are embrace DWG with an open heart, and let's get in there and understand what we are doing and how Open Design Alliance, Building Smart, Rhino McNeil are partnering with us for a great interoperable and open BIM tomorrow. Yeah. So this is me. Please do reach out to me if you have any specific queries or you would like to have a tailored demonstration at your time zone whenever you want, and our team will help you. Our APAC technical team sits here in Singapore, and we also have a support team in Singapore, and also in India we have a team as well and a large partner network. So very happy to answer any questions. Thanks, Rashmi. Please, let's go through the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sagar. So for the next couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, we will still be online to answer any questions. So if you have any questions, please type in now. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just go one by one. Okay, so let's just look at first question. Please send in your, okay.